All right. Without further ado, we have Bobby Moon and Patrick Donigan. Patrick just got up and he's going to come back, I think. So
What up?
he's got the
What's
heavyweight
happening?
champion here, Bobby.
What's
Pat's
up?
chilling
What's
outside.
good? What's
Cali.
poppin'?
How you
What's
guys
up,
doing?
guys?
What's going on?
Hey,
Good to
what's
see
going
you.
on? How are you guys? How you feeling? How you make 6 hours in?
6
yeah, we're only
hours
6
in,
hours in. No big deal.
quarter of the way.
Let's go. Thanks for having us.
Right.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
Yeah, so let's say we wanted to have you guys on. Say we've had plenty of talks with store owners and things like that. But I think the coral game is really changing with how technology has evolved. So we wanted to have you two on to represent how that coral game is changing and what 21st century coral marketing really looks like. So I know both of you have owned a retail store in the past, but now you're doing this full time online. So maybe tell us, your story about how you transitioned from that retail environment to where you're at now and what that transition's looked like. We'll start with you, Bobby.
Well,
Patrick
first of
disappeared.
all, thanks for having me. Thank you guys. Chris, Salem, I know it's not easy to stream. I stream a lot, but not that many hours. So I appreciate you guys for having me on the show. I appreciate Patrick for being the panelist with me there. Hopefully audio and everything sounds good. Make sure you guys let me know. And thank you to all the people who were on the stream before, man. Talk about legendary. I can't wait to see who else comes on the stream. But man,
There he is.
it has been an awesome stream. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Definitely. There's Patrick. He's back.
Sorry, man.
There we go.
Yep.
We got
No
it.
worries.
Cool.
Did you
Sorry,
hear
man.
Did you hear the question I got to ask, or did you cut out?
No, it cut out. What's going on?
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, so I was basically saying we're having this to basically talk to people how the coral industry has changed towards more live sale format and stuff. So we are going to have you two kind of detail what it was like owning a shop, what this is like, and then how you've transitioned between the two. So Bobby was about to start his, and then you'll go
Perfect.
after that.
Oh, okay. What's up, Patrick? Thanks for being here too, man. I was just saying thanks to everybody who was on the panel and putting it together. The subject matter of what you guys had me on, I thought was pretty cool because this is something that's obviously, pretty near and dear to my heart. It's pretty much my whole life. I did own a shop, to break it down, not to go into the whole history of Kush Corals or anything, but I was a shop owner. And I just basically started seeing the writing on the wall where the more time I put into online, I was more successful, moving more stuff, doing better. And the more time that I spent in the store, it was going the other way. So it wasn't really that hard to figure out for me. I'm going to invest in the internet. I see it happening in all these other industries around me. This is the future. And then now it's turned into where I can literally click on a button. I'm in the Kush Corals studio right here, and we could go live at any time and sell corals 1 a.m. if somebody wants to buy some corals. So for me, it's taken over. We ended up getting rid of our store just for that reason. It was a couple other reasons. Our building was sold to the town that we had. We didn't own the building like most store owners don't, which is another thing that's over our head. Just like every other store owner has all these things over their head. Not to mention overhead, the price of everything and employees. And for me, it was just like I seen the writing on the wall. And I'm not a big tech guy, but I did see the future in being able to talk to people one-on-one. And obviously the internet, I think this conversation for me is past a website. Patrick and I both do something similar, but there is distinctions. But that is to say that now the future to me is not just having a web page. It's the live button. It's the community. So in short, that's pretty much my thought on the state of where everything is at. I think everything is going to keep evolving into things just like we're doing right here. That's why I'm so happy that you had me on the show, to be honest with you. So
Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, what was your journey like, Pat? I was there for part of it for sure. Pat was my local fish store. So when I was like 10, I went to his shop, and he's been like, I worked for him for a little bit doing the live sale stuff with him. So it's he's been around forever, at least in Kansas. So yeah, he's been. What's it like? What was it like?
I'm the king of Kansas, I've been called. Whoa. Well, I moved to California when I was 21. Started a life out there and really loved fish tanks. So met this person called Foy from Aquarium Industrial Aquarium Masters, and I would go up there and pick up tanks, sell them out of my garage while I cleaned carpet down in San Diego. and I started filling a bunch of tanks, started getting salt water, doing this, that, started making some money, this, that. I'm like, hey, let's set up a store on El Cajon Boulevard in the hood. So we did that for a while. It was really tough. I had Pat Hurley down there doing business and stuff. So I hung in for about 6 years, and then decided to, it's time to go back to Kansas. That's where I was born. So I came back here, did the same exact thing, cleaning carpet, $100 an hour, pay the bills. And then bought tanks, had called up Poi. She sent me a container. Then I set up a store at I set up a little store after my house. I started at my house. Everybody starts your house. Then I went to the Great Mall for 10 years. And I was really into fish, but I was at the mall and people are like, where's the gerbils? So I had birds and snakes, and I still have 300 snakes, and I'm not a snake person, but hey, we got 300 freaking snakes, you know what I mean? Ball pythons. So, but that's all. And then, so then they closed the store down after 10 years. They said, we're tearing the mall down. Mall is a thing of the past. So I'm like, well, storefront's not. So I'm moving over to the place right about 3 miles away, there for 10 years, doing good. No more, just fish. But I did, freshwater. Then they're going to build a freeway right through my store. 10 years later, the only way to get rid of me is to build something or tear it down. So now, and the state's supposed to pay me some money to move, but that's, here and there. I'm still waiting on that, but we'll see. But main thing is that now I'm at my house. So waiting on this and waiting on that and looking for a new place that's going to cost me twice as much for half the space. Man, I was just like, well, let me just get it home. Let me get this farm thing going. That's what I love. So we've got 4,300 gallons at the house. We've got 19 different systems between my fiance, soon-to-be wife, Hillary Harris Donigan, and I. So we have, she had like 6 systems. So I put in a bunch of 8-footers, 10-foot, just my whole basement's filled. My constant job, part-time job is dehumidifying, empty man. I'm picking them up and emptying them out, picking them up and emptying them out. So that's what we're doing now. We're farming, and I really got back to what I love. This is when I got into it, not, oh no, not that goldfish. I want that one. Oh, I just, no more crickets for me, no more goldfish for me. And I'm just going to enjoy farming for a while. And then maybe next year, think about, maybe, setting up another one. I don't know. I mean, I always thought that you had to have a store to be relevant, you know what I mean? Because it's so hard to get a store, so hard to keep it, so expensive, the overhead, the sales tax, Kansas state sales tax is probably coming right now. Just kidding. I'm even. But what I mean is it's tough so much. I had, one time I had too many employees. You were there, you helped me. I mean, Salem used to be my right-hand guy. He would identify, he still comes into the stream every once in a while, and I'm like, Salem, what is this, Zoa? What's this? And he helps me, and boom, double it. I get twice as much money. So, but unfortunately, Salem's too busy right now to help a little 55-year-old man like me with my live auctions anymore. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing right now, just chilling. I know one thing is that Bobby, there's LAX, a couple other people I won't even mention, but Bobby was an inspiration. When I saw him, doing his thing, and then they wanted to, not allow him to do his thing the way he does his thing. And he just said, oh, I'm going to do this other thing. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's my guy. That's my guy right there. Bobby is a legend in my eyes, as far as he was doing it before I was doing it. When COVID came, I had already done a couple things here, and then COVID, it was like, boom, you know what I mean? We're doing $20,000 auctions in a Saturday night. You know what I mean? But we go 5-6 hours though. So every Wednesday, usually, this week I'm in Cali. We're doing Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. We did Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and tonight we're going. I can show you some stuff real quick. I'm at my brother's place up here in Cali. I just travel around. I go to maybe I'll go to Chris's sometime. I bought from Chris. Got some beautiful anemones. Got a lot of nice frags. Chris is the man, and he knows how hard farming is. I mean. How in one instant, we're out here, the wife's out here with me, and she took off. We had a problem with the apex, this tank's doing this and that. I'm telling you what, she was on the red eye, shoo, and now she's doing water changes. And I got 2 guys that went from 4 employees to 2. So they're now helping out, but they don't work weekends. So guess what? The tanks, they don't care if you're working or not. Thank God for apex equipment. I'm looking for the new Coral View 1 to come out finally. But anyway, enough about this, that. I got ADHD a little bit, and it's my first kind of deal here. So, so I'm not, just right now when the screen went off, it's because somebody was calling me. So don't call me, because if you call me, it's going to block my ass out. So if you call me, I'll never sell to you, and I won't be your friend. That's what I was trying to do it. I'm like, man, I got it. Don't call me. Anyway, love you guys, man. Love you guys. And I think it's time for me to have a Starbucks.
Well, thanks for guys both for coming on here. What I love about both of you is you guys are your own people. You don't let people influence who you are. You could care less about what people think about you. And that's the important thing. That's me. I could care less what other people think about me. I'd say what I say, and I don't want to sugarcoat anything. It's just talking about the reality of life and what you do. And you guys both do that on your streams. And
right.
I love that, because you get what you get. You never know what you're going to get. And it's always interesting. And that's what gets people coming back to both of you.
Believe it. Can I say something real quick? Man, I appreciate the kind words. That's awesome. I appreciate Patrick's hustle. I didn't know all of the story and stuff like that. A lot of times you stay in your own bubble. I don't even think people know who I am. So I'm like, the fact that he even said that, I thought that was really awesome. I admire his hustle too. And that kind of is a theme with some of the stream that I've seen here, where everybody's saying, you can reap your own way. You can sell your own way. This is the age of the internet where the businesses can be formed your own way. I could call it Kush Corals. Didn't do me any favors for a couple of years, but now being myself and everybody knows the brand, it's helped me. So I think some of the theme is, is that the only thing that you actually have that nobody else has, we all have the same 24 hours. Yeah, we all have different unique attributes, but we all have ourselves. And like, if you're trying to be somebody else, you're just not going to be anybody. If you can't stand out, you're going to blend in. It's cliche shit, but it is what it is. I think that's awesome that Pat also seen the writing on the wall where he's like, man, I'm making more money here and I could downsize here. Why wouldn't I do it? But then people get the mistake where they think like, well, I'm going to do it once a week. And it's like, it takes so much grind and dedication to build a community and build an audience that people quickly find out that it's just like anything else. It takes a long time to achieve any type of success, So I appreciate those kind words. There's people in the chat saying I inspired them. Look, dude, just like with these guys, they're trying to inspire each other with all the crazy stuff that you've seen on this stream. I'm the same way. I want to inspire you guys to make better content and stream more and do more stuff because I see you and I go, I'm inspired because they're doing it. So it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy that we need to keep rolling. So,
yeah, I think Tian said it best here. I think it's really just about community. And I mean, this is the writing on the wall we've been touching on. I think the LFS might not last that much longer, with e-commerce and stuff. I don't know.
I get flamed for saying that. I get flamed for saying it every time I do.
I don't want that to happen because it's a great place, but this is probably this is the digital LFS is like these types of streams is probably, that's how you get help. That's how you buy coral and you can talk to you or Pat or whoever is streaming and they can, it's the same thing as having a walk-in business.
On your own time. You could talk to other customers. You can only talk to another customer in a local store if they're in the store at the same time. You could see like this person has a bad reputation. This person does this good, but it also makes the competition harder because the barrier to entry is so low. But I wanted to throw that in there. So,
yeah,
I think that that your local fish store, even though it is not as many as there was, and whether it's due to the cost of having one, operating one, or the competition now. So I remember when I had a store and I'd be buying, I'm not going to mention any companies, not like corals, but like dry goods, big companies, I got a storefront and they're coming to my place to bring me, let's say, a big aquarium that I made 10% on, $3,000 aquarium. And I'm selling it for $3,500, let's say. They're going to this other guy's place, three blocks down the road, who took a sale from me because they're giving him the same exact price, and he's an attorney during the day and gets the same price as me. So I think once that started happening, so I chose not to buy from that place, anymore. But stuff like that was tough. So that makes it tough. But you have, and because I think you really need a store in your town, hopefully to get your water, to talk to people. Not everyone's on the internet, and to go and, look, just fish, mainly fish, invertebrates. I mean, I know you can ship all that stuff, but I mean, you can look at the fish, you can see the fish. And so I'm going to do some quarantine in my basement. I got all these tanks we got from Matt Corona at Refract. all those divided ones, and I'm just going to run a straight quarantine. Gonna have a few fish, people come over, pick up their auction winnings. I'm going to be open to the public, and so I'm going to see what it's like. Not doing that, but I mean, if somebody wants to come over and get some $1 a gallon RO or salt water, 50-cent a gallon and RO water, they better be picking up $100 order from the stream, and then I'll give them some water. And if they want that certain ghost shrimp. If they want me to catch that certain ghost shrimp for them for a quarter, I'll give them a net, I'll give them a bag, and I'll go back and watch the game up on the second floor. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to it. Plus, I get to travel. I've been in California probably 4 weeks out of the last 7 weeks, just cruising around doing auctions. We went to Coral Farmers Market on last week. I think I picked up about 800 frags, all designer, SPS, SOAs, rainbow chalice, all kind. I can show you some in a little bit if you want to see it. Some of it's still here. I shipped a lot of it back, but my brother over here is fighting me for some of it because, I saw some of Bobby's stuff here too. Bobby, that carpet was tight, bro. With all it looked like there was sponge coming out of that carpet. That was a good one.
It must be nice to not have a bunch of kids and stay at home and be able to travel all the time and just go live on your phone. Now, let me say, not to catch disparities.
I put my kids, both my boys work for me. They work for me. They're paying their dad back.
Well, let me push back first on what you said about the aquarium. Maybe my view is a little bit more pessimistic, but I don't think the local fish stores are going to last. I think those same problems that you said you had in the store, those still also happen online. The guy who's a lawyer can still start up a Facebook page and go live just as best as you can. Yeah. Maybe they can't go into the wholesalers like you do and push a button. And therein lies a little bit of a distinction between a live stream and a live. Somebody who goes live on their phone and somebody who puts a whole show together, which is a stream. I just want to make that distinction because the future is what we're talking about in this subject matter. And to me, just like we're talking about, everybody can reef and sell their own way. What I try to do is have that distinction from other people and do stuff differently. So I'm glad you get to check on my stuff while it's out there. Make sure it's growing and looking colorful, okay?
Yeah. Hey, I tell you what. I was over here trying to do some stuff, and Karen comes out of nowhere, and whoop, I'm like, what happened? And then all of a sudden I see Bobby Moon on there. I'm like, damn, I came all the way to Cali and I still got sniped by Moon.
Hey, come on, man. Let me get a little bit of love.
I was here. I was hugging the wife and she was picking out Donnie's or something. He's over there. I'm like, what? He spent 5,000 in 5 minutes.
The FOMO is real. And speaking of FOMO, that's something that you in this industry, like I said in the beginning, I think a flat website, just having a website at this point for where we're at, not maybe where ACI is. That's a little bit different. But for like a retailer or a seller for us, for me, I'd see that just the flat website is dead. I think that those days are over. So I'm even past. Yes, there will always be a store. Yes, there will always be people who have websites because you always have to tell people the exception doesn't make the rule. But I think where the industry is going is just what we're doing. And I think the arbitrage that you're making of going to the actual places and using, you don't have to buy every piece when you're there. I know what you're doing over there. It's fucking smart. It's what I would be doing too. And I just think that we're trying to use those edges that we have as competitors and just business people, not competitors to each other, but competitors to ourselves to be better at being a business person, which is part of it. Some people don't like that part, that what we do is profitable. And a lot of people on this stream, on this 24-hour stream, which has been awesome, it's totally different. We're a business. Some of these people are researchers, and the angle that they come from it is not always the same. And sometimes they may look down on things. And I get that, I think, sometimes in the industry. But I want people to know, I think some of our place is we have to help move some of these corals. We can't have Chris just sitting on corals for 3 months, get a shipment here. We have to be a business and keep product moving. That's the lifeblood of any business. So anytime people want to try to make us feel bad for making money on corals, they don't see the losses. They don't see the deaths. They don't see that this is the oil that makes this engine work, you know?
Puff, puff, give, right? What you got to do is if we're not moving all these corals, then these guys are going to be sitting on the same inventory. You know what I mean? By the way, Chris, I need a price list, brother. Come on. I need to get that login.
I got
Come on, man. Come on. I'm coming to Florida. I'm coming to Florida next.
Bobby
I'm coming to Florida next. Coming to Florida in like 3-4 weeks now. I'm coming to see you.
You got every opportunity. Come this Sunday. There's 850 or 1,000. What you see is what you get's going up. Jump on it.
You better believe it, brother.
I'm bringing 5 kids with me. All right, how about that?
Hey, I'll tell you what. That's how you do it. But wait, I've got a son that's 40 years old, and I've got another son that just had a grandbaby. By the way, like 2 weeks before you had your baby. By the way, congratulations on that. On Bobby Blue Moon Jr. Is that what it is? Is that what his name is?
Yeah,
is that what his name is, cuz?
Bobby Blue Moon.
Bobby Blue Moon Jr., man.
That's awesome.
That's tight, man. He's already boxing. I saw him. He's already boxing. Yeah. Yeah, but I got a little baby granddaughter.
Here, dude. People think that it's sweet out here. It's a fight in life, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. My boys, I didn't eat. They make a living working with me. So, you know what I mean? And they support their families, man. So don't worry. I see that boy and that older boy, that older girl, they'll be ready in about, you probably already got them doing water changes soon. Come on now. You and the wife can't handle it all, man. You guys, you know what I mean?
Hey,
freaking, you rock 5 nights a week. I'm here doing 4 in a row, and man, I'm telling you what. Whew.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy.
Hydrate.
Keep your sanity. Keep your.
And then it's time to get ready.
Well, everybody knows.
Have a Sprite.
I keep myself in the right frame of mind all the time when I'm doing my stream. So I have no issue. I've been streaming for 7 years now. I saw this as a big future, man. The first time I ever seen somebody on Twitch where they were talking back and forth, and now there's every platform you could do it on. But at the time, I was like, oh, dude, this is what I'd rather be doing. And that was 7.5, 8 years ago now.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle too. You know, a lot of people don't understand that what we do in this industry is a complete lifestyle. And if you don't embrace the lifestyle, then your animals suffer. You know, and you have to be able to weather that aspect of life when you're doing what we do. And
what I thought
you
the
guys,
lifestyle was you couldn't go on vacation, you couldn't go anywhere. Who's this guy on the other side of the stream over here traveling all over the place?
Listen, that son of a bitch, he's got his kid. He's got an army.
That reminds me.
I got that coming for me. So.
He put me to slave labor to take care of his tanks. Well, he went to Miami. That's what happened.
He's done it. He's done it. Salem's covered me many times. I got a story. Well, I had a customer. Her name was Hillary Harris, and she was in there buying a lot of stuff for a while, you know. And David, who ran my auction, just says, "Pat," I said, "Man, that person's buying quite a few corals." He's like, "Pat, stay away from her." I'm like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "You're gonna ruin it. You're gonna do something stupid. Just I'll handle her. She pays on time. She always do whatever. What else?" So I finally started talking to her, and what happened is she ran out of room after about 3-4 months, and she needed a couple fish tanks. And I'm like, she's like, I could go to Chris at LAX here. I go, no, whoa. I'm Aquariums Wholesale. So I loaded up these aquariums that she wanted. A Red Sea. It was a Pro Clear 250 5-footer, and it was a Red Sea. So we drove them out there, had my guys basically out there. Paul, my son Josh, we all went out there to set all these tanks up. While we're doing all this for a week and a half, elk spikes. This happens, and we're saying, were you around then? I think. And
I helped pack that trailer. Yeah, I was there, man.
Yeah. Okay.
I took care of the shop while you were gone.
Yeah. So you know, I'm talking tens of thousands of dollars. You know what I mean? Couple tanks, huge. All my chalice collection, rainbow chalice I got from the Godfather back in the day when they were like 700 a piece, and now they're freaking 7,000. You know what I mean? And I had like 50 of them. And anyway, so I'm out there, and I know what happens when you leave. You know what I mean? I came back to a hole in the freaking head chalice. It was horrible. Hair algae everywhere. But what I also came back with was my new wife. And it was the best experience ever, because when I left there with all these aquariums running, and my guys who usually do husbandry and run the store there, making sure it's good, we shot over to the Godfather Soutons in Dallas to do an auction or something, and she was there. And quite frankly, she's not been back since, and it's been 2.5 years. So you can find, I was 54 years old, 53, I think, 53 and a half. So, and I thought I was gonna be single forever because I couldn't find anyone that Can I have the same interest? Well, Bobby has, and I have, and it's great. You know what I mean? It's great. And I don't think I can be having as much fun traveling with her and doing what I do if I had a storefront right now. So if my boys want to get the storefront next year, good. Just take all these snakes with you too. You know, get them out of my freaking garage. You know what I mean? And then I'll just farm. You know what I mean? Down in the you know what I mean? I got a riding lawnmower. We could go out in the back. I feel like a real farm, but the real farm's inside, emptying those dehumidifiers all the time, making sure, you know what I mean? But yeah, there's different ways. I mean, I'm probably 75% sure I'm not going to want to do a store again. And I'm just going to, you know, maybe do more website stuff, you know, do something different. But when I do that, I pay somebody to do all this, and I learn how to do it and take all these pictures. Salem was there, help take. By the time we take all the pictures, and they're waiting and we're waiting for somebody to buy it on the website, I'm like, I just go over there in the live auction, and then boom, 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 all gone. And then it's like, okay, now I got to pay you to take it off. You know what I mean? And then let's do it again. So it's like, it's, you know, websites are tough, man. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not a photo taker. I mean, Hillary is, my fiance is, but do we want to be sitting there taking photos and doing this all day long? I'd just rather just travel and come hang out with my brother right here for a weekend. And, you know,
well,
so
for me, I will say this. For me, man, I got the, actually for our company, the photographer is actually here. Hang on, let me get him. Oh, wait, that's also me. So we're taking the photos of the corals and doing that part of the work. But that's what's so cool about this is that there's so many different layers and niches. And what I think he's trying to say is that the freedom that comes with not having the old mindset of having to have a store. For me, somebody said it to me, it was like, is your ego the reason you have the store? Because you could have more freedom and do more things online. Me. But also, I think people don't understand that it does take much more work because there's so many more competitors. It's ever changing. It's going to get to the point where sometimes, like even now, I will say this, people on their phone going live, it is getting oversaturated. So how do you stand out and how do you become different? That's kind of where the game always changes. Now it's like short form video and like, so, you know, live streams and not necessarily on the phone. There's just so many different ways, and we don't know where it's going to go from here. It could be virtual reality, holograms, meta glasses, reefing. Like, I am open to all of that stuff. I'm a little bit, not much. Did you say
meta glasses?
Into that stuff. If only it was just as easy as a click and a button, right?
And we're talking about significant others a little way to go here. My wife, Amanda, she's a huge part of ACI. A lot of people don't give her the credit she deserves, and that's frustrating for me. But she takes the photos, she does the social media, and, you know, hands off to her for all the work she puts into it that, you know, is behind the scenes that nobody else really sees. People see me as the face of ACI, and they talk about me, and that actually is not, I'm a big part of it, but I'm not as big of a part of it as everybody thinks I am. And it's just like, I'm sure Jackie's a big part of what you do, Bobby. And is it Hillary, you said?
Yeah, Hillary.
She's a huge part of what you do. Salem, you're going to be there at some point. You're the baby of the group here. So when you and Avery get married, you know, she'll be a huge part of the whole.
She already holds me together, man. She's like, don't buy that coral. You've worked 78 hours this week. Go to sleep.
Right.
I'm like, all right, good point.
You better be there. You better be there November 1st, Salem. November 1st was when I get married. You better be there.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the addiction's real when you break it down. If you got a passion for doing this, you know, the coral addiction it's worse than drugs. I'm sure of it.
But I will say this, not everybody's cut out for business, because some people think because they're really good at growing corals, and they are. Right. And I tell people this, I'm not the best photographer. I'm not the best coral grower. I'm not the best seller, but I happen to be good at a lot of those things. And I like to think I'm pretty good at those things. But some people are really awesome coral growers, and they're terrible business people. Some people are really good business people, but they're terrible coral people. There's probably a lot more of those. So I don't know. I think that's where, when the chips fall where they may, that's where you see the people who, like us, who have been around for a long time and can make it through the seasons and make it through the, the puppy love stage of having your business. I think that we stand the test of time because of those things. So
I think that oversaturation of people on the phone, that's probably how it'll be ultimately dealt with. I think right now it's hot because everyone thinks they can make money off of it, but maybe in 5 years max, 2 to 5 years, 50 to 90% of those people will already be out of the game. So I think
I think it's already there, dude. If you go on TikTok, there's at any given time, there's 5, 6, 7 people who are going live on their phone. So I think it'll be oversaturated, but then I think the cream will rise to the top, and then something new will pop along, and it'll create waves where new people come around. I saw Putang Reef in the chat earlier when I was on. Dude, like they hit the TikTok wave, and it was like, bam, they exploded. I didn't heard of them before, and I was like, I really like what they do. I thought that was cool. And then the next wave will come, and then hopefully we could just keep riding those waves, or but that's the thing, it takes a lot of work to stay up with trends and just hard work, being consistent. I like to think that people invested in us because they know in a year I'll be here, next Monday I'll be here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to be like, my cat died, I can't work for a week. That comes with just time, consistency, which most people just, they don't have the patience for.
Looks like Pat got a phone call.
Oh,
no. It was me. I'm mad. I tripped him up.
I used to do tons of live videos on a weekly basis, and I enjoyed doing them, but I got to the point where I was just like, I can't go over there and do another live video. What am I going to talk about now? I've been doing this for 4 years, and I stopped doing it. I remember doing it once, and it was probably 6 or 8 months in between my last live video and the one that I did do. And I think Bobby jumped on and he said,
can I say this though? You never know, bro. If you were to take your old videos, recaption them on the TikTok, put the captions, put it in vertical. You have no idea how it might pop off for you, man. I'm just saying.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
There's a song that's been going on. I can't remember the lady's name, Connie something. She's like from the 30s or 50s or something. She made a song. It just got popular on TikTok. She died like last year.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
She blew up again because of just uploading their stuff to a new platform, man. I'm telling you, if you're that much of a wealth of knowledge, you don't have to film new stuff. You could go through the old stuff and clip it. That's why I hope Salem takes this stream. There's so much info in this stream. He can work for a month clipping this stream. So by the way, I have an AI that you could feed the stream into. We'll talk after the stream if you want to. That will do some of that automated for you. So check it out.
Cool. Yeah, I know one that does like YouTube videos, but I guess I could, if you could have it do raw, that'd be awesome. Because automating that stuff, that's so much time editing things. I mean, that's a whole other part that people don't really see is like editing, making YouTube videos, all that. Oh my God, there's so much work and time that goes into it. It's
think of the payoff. Think of like that guy Predatory Fins. You know who he is on Freshwater Guy? Huge, bro. Huge. Life has changed. I tell people social media content is like a lotto ticket. You have unlimited chances to enter the lotto, bro. And it only costs you your time and your effort and what you could come up with. But that's what I'm pushing for. I'm trying to do as much content, and not only one person with kids, and the business is really busy, but I still think it's totally worth it. I don't want to look back and be like, man, I could have put that content out, and who knows who you meet. One person changes your whole trajectory of your life. I really believe in that. So
I do. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So I liked your, I think I agree with your opinion on LFSs will probably go away. So I'm interested in your thoughts on where do you think dry goods will go? Will it just only be to the big e-commerce sites who act as distributors too, and that's where it goes through? You order your tank and it's shipped to you, or what do you think?
So I think I have kind of a unique perspective on this because I worked at a super high volume store for 8 years in Chicago. It's called Aquatica. I'm talking slammed. I didn't have any kids. It was a busy store. And then when I made my store down south, it was a lot slower. So I have a unique perspective on that, I believe. Dude, dry goods killed me as a small store because it's eating up all your cash. It's just going extinct when the new product comes out. The margins are so thin that it's not even worth it. The amount of time that people buy it online and don't buy it from you just kills you as a store owner. So for me, the dry goods game, like we sell some dry goods on our website. It's all drop shipped. You're selling links nowadays. And unfortunately, that's just the game because tying up all your cash, it's the same reason, Pat, it goes to the wholesalers. Well, I could sell way more if I didn't have to put all that cash up. Same thing with dry goods. If I don't got to sit on 6 lights for this guy, Hydra in black acrylic, like it's way too much to put your money into. When COVID happened, I couldn't even get fish tanks delivered. So it became to the point where effectively, I don't even understand why I have a store besides my ego at that point,
Yeah, I think that distributors will maybe be one of the first things to go away. Besides things like tank and like salt, I don't understand, like supply chain wise, why there needs to be a distributor for controllers, for lights, for all of these things. I feel like at this point, a lot of them could be direct to consumer, or they would be shipped to stores.
100%. Here's where it's going to go. They're going to pay, like, let's say you name the company, whatever. I'm going to pay Salem to go on TikTok and go live. And there's a link at the bottom, and he gets a commission, and he gets to talk about this shit because he knows about this shit more than anybody. And it's going to be direct to consumer. Boom. The shipping will be fast through TikTok. That's what we're trying to do, is compete with Amazon and compete with Google as a search engine optimization company. That's where personally I think it's going. That's why I think I've heavily invested so much in live streaming and personality and tech and all this, because that's where I think it's going, man. Except for me, I think I cut out that middleman, being that I sell my own products. I don't have to sell Ecotex Light for them or anything like that. I don't need them to sponsor, nothing like that, you know? So I sell my own corals that I grow, and that's what's been unique for me. But that's 100%. I'm telling you right now, Amazon will drop an app maybe where you can sell through there. But the future, because you can look to China, it's in live streaming, selling links, man. Who can sell this product just like TikTok makes sales right now? That's where it's going, in my opinion. Mark it down, book it, screenshot.
So I see Patrick showing off some pretty amazing looking corals.
Yeah, well, guess what? Same guy, customer too. He just keeps calling. I can't figure out how to stop anybody from calling. So 10 win, Mr. 10 win, Mr. Newton, you've been blocked. I'll unblock you after the stream. Yeah. You guys want? Sorry, hold on a second.
Did you call it again?
So I got to be honest. I am new to technology, as you can see. So let me see what we can do here. All right. Can you see some corals?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, glass is a little dirty.
I see is somebody calling.
Stop it, Bobby.
I'm going to call you, Pat.
Yeah. So these are some of the corals that I picked up from the coral show. Some cool stuff, you know, and it's all local farmers. So when Josh and I went in there, you know, they would have had a horrible day. Some people had done 400, 600. Well, you know, then Josh and I went in there, and, you know, they are all, you know, pretty darn happy. 5 booths we bought out, and then a total of 8 people we got stuff from, and now they can come to the next coral show. You know what I mean? And do the next thing. You know what I mean? So it's a bounce chalice. By the way, don't ever move a large bounce chalice. I bought a big one from a local guy in Torrance, a young kid that was at the show, but I didn't get to get anything from, and it tore. I was terrified, dude. I mean, it's back in the back. It's gonna probably live. I don't even want to look at it right now. It was so sad. But imagine if I would have shipped. It was in a bag for an hour and 20 minutes. You know, imagine if I would have had that thing shipped. I mean, there's a chance that the bubbles will come back, but yeah, they're just showing off a few corals here. These are what's going to be in the live stream tonight. When I guess Bobby's going to live too tonight, aren't you, Bobby?
Everybody's live, dude. It's freaking.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You know, does it end in live tonight?
Well,
Somebody's live.
I'll be going live. I'll be going live in about a minute and 5. No, it's in about an hour and a half. So yeah, check out some meats.
Speaking of live, can we say a big shout out to Tyann? Tyann.
Yeah. Oh, talk tank with Tyann's the best.
Yeah, that's right there.
That's my auntie.
I don't think people really,
or my sister, I guess.
How big of how awesome of a hub Tyann is for us that go live and do stuff on the internet. So I wanted to shout out to Tyann.
Oh yeah, for sure.
On Facebook, make sure you check
Vendor Monday, and then she does her thing on Tuesday. Believe it, it's awesome.
So I think while you guys are both on here, yeah, Bobby, you just mentioned this in the chat, and I know you've done it too, Pat. I think maybe talking about the other angles that, you know, are sources of income as a store. So maintenance and doing the shows yourself. What are your guys' been experiences there?
I'll let Bobby go first. I'm looking at all these stats.
I'll keep it short and sweet, man. My experience is just mine. It's my own. It's anecdotal, but it's like, for me, there's only so much time in the day, especially for me with having kids and being, honestly, I've done everything in my stores where I try to do freshwater, saltwater, aquaponics. The more that I spread myself thin, everybody says to be diverse. I actually think that diversity is for people who don't know what they're doing until you get to a certain point. When you become successful, then you divert things to other people to do instead of you having to do them because you want some of that time back. So for me, it was about the liability of being a service company. I just over time I didn't like the majority of the customers aren't into the tank the way that you are. So the passion wasn't there. I didn't really care for that. And it was at some people, and some of those people are great. But for me, doing the service, having employees just seems like a logistical nightmare when it comes to a litigious nightmare, actually, I should say, because I don't want to get sued from a tank. I just had to go tear down my last maintenance that I did. I'm a big believer in leasing tanks. I think, sorry to jump all over the place, but if you're a fish store and you're not leasing tanks, you're leaving so much money on the table. But I just tore down my last tank, if you follow me on Facebook, because it had a seal that broke. I don't own a store anymore. I don't even have employees. I can't even fix that thing if I wanted to. So I lost them as a client. Luckily, they love me. They didn't sue me or anything like that, but they could have. So for me, service is a nightmare. So
I just got hit for $4,300. Took it right out of my account because I was traveling. I gave a friend of mine that was down and out like 10 accounts because I don't really do the maintenance. I'm too busy. So I gave it to him, and so, because I gave it to him, he flooded their house, and I got sued for $4,300. And they took it out of my account. I ain't going there, man. That's his. He got paid, not me. I just gave him the account. Oh no, but I sold him the tank. And I went over there with Jerry, with whatever. So anyway, I know names, but I know. That's another reason why I'm 79% sure I'm gonna just chill at home. You know what I mean? And learn, and right after I learn how to say, do not accept calls to nobody while I'm doing a live stream. But one thing at a time. One thing at a time.
The second part of that question was about the trade shows, and the trade shows I think also are a very big important part of the
big
industry.
Time.
And I think that people should do them. You're going to get a surge of sales, meet a surge of people. To me, it's the internet in a microcosm, but only in a vacuum of a few hours or maybe 2 days if you're lucky. So for me, it's about, you should be doing those shows. For me, when people say, why don't you do the shows? If I'm being 100% honest, is because, again, I'm only putting energy into what does the best for me. And I just want to be the best at that. So it's streaming. It's getting the best corals, making the best connections. I only go to the shows to go meet people and buy corals from people that are there to then bring them to my community and my audience. So that's how I fell out of doing the shows. But I think they're super important. And to be fair, I think that the LFS is super important. None of these things I'm like happy about or cheering for. I just see the industry. I'm a business-minded person, and that's how I see it. So.
I think that's what's going to happen, whether we like it or not. I think you're right. It's not if we support it. It's me saying I think LFSs might go away is not me saying I hate the LFS. And that's to say it. So will a bunch of other stores, not reality. LFS. I'm sure reptiles and stuff are probably in the same boat.
Well, the thing that I think needs to be looked at. I mean, as somebody putting on a show. Honestly, I feel that they're oversaturated with way too many coral vendors. And if their show is going to be successful long term, they need to limit the amount of actual sellers that they allow at these shows. Instead of just allowing 50 or 100 vendors that are selling coral there, you got to give everybody a fighting chance to make money when they're displaying the corals that they have to offer. And I think there's way too many vendors that have these shows. And I'm not even sure why some people even go and do it, especially if they don't have a big name. The big names make money.
Well, when the business model is selling reef tables, that's why there's so many vendors. And that's why anybody can sell at a lot of them. They don't vet the sellers or anything.
Exactly.
Which, for some people, if you're looking for competition, then they would say, well, that's for the best. On the other side of the table, you don't have any of that protection either or whatever. But that's really what I saw it was going towards the people making the money are selling the booths at these places because they're getting cash bam right there. So
exactly. And the people sitting there selling are wasting money. But
and then they got everybody's info. A lot of people don't think of it this way. When you could run data and people's info through there, it's like, okay, you as a company paid to be here and you got this amount of people connections. They got every connection through there, which is super smart for them to do. But I think that's where people don't see it's a business with businesses within it,
Yeah, the shows are, there's money to be made there if you're running a show for sure.
It's like the reason I feel the reason why Macna failed was because Macna went from a great trade show that was informational to basically an extra large frag swap. You know, they allowed all these vendors to come in there, and it went away from the roots of what Macna was all about. And that's why Macna is no longer here, because they were desperate. They couldn't get things happening. All these coral sellers started coming in. Once one or two of them came in, next thing you know, I remember it was Hollywood, Florida. There was not very many coral sellers there whatsoever. And then the next year there was more. The next year there was even more. And it just kept building and building and building. And all these coral vendors coming in there, and it just turned into a Reefapalooza or a farmer's market or whatever, or a normal frag swap. And why would people from around the world come to see a big frag swap? They want to come and see an actual trade show. That's why I think this whole reef retreat that just popped up, I think that's going to be huge down the road. And maybe it will be the next Macna. Who knows? But
it was basically like it. There was like 2 booths, and it was only dry goods. It was like this, but in person. It was just speeches the whole time. It was pretty cool.
Well, so a lot of people don't remember, but I did a thing called Reef Stream maybe 6 years ago, where I did a 12-hour stream, and I had 6 other vendors on, live painters, and we did a stream like that. And in my mind, it was the digital, frag swap. And I haven't done it since because it's a lot of work to do. And I'm like, well, why am I going to put everybody else on when I'll just go live myself? But I think that somebody put something like that together, dude. I think that's an awesome idea. You could do, you know what I mean? Obviously, like, I'm not going to go before Pat. I'm the A side, but let's go Pat and then me. Just kidding, by the way. But let's have a bunch of streamers in a row. You know what I mean? Somebody put together, Pat goes for an hour. Somebody else goes for an hour. Somebody else goes for an hour. I just think that's where the future is, So or it could be. I'm not saying it's going to replace the other
5 hours. Hey, we should do a 24-hour stream like they do one day, and just get like 6 of us and just switch it off.
Yeah, we could do that.
I just want to do the first 8 and the last 8. That's all I ask.
I'll have to think about that, because I think I think it's the same problem that there's becoming in live streams now, which is there's a lot of saturation with the shows. You got Rap, you got Aquashell, you got Reef Stock, you got this new one, you got all the little tiny ones. I mean, how many times can someone have the budget to go buy an ass load at a show 5 times a year,
That's what happened at my store. Chicago had more frag swaps every month. And people literally tell me, like, well, I'm saving up for the frag swap. And I'm like, damn, I got all these corals here,
Yeah,
if you're a reefer, you're going to buy what you want when you see it. If you're waiting for some show because you're expecting something, this is not the type of business or type of industry or hobby that you just expect to go to a show and find what you're looking for. The way I look at it, if people would actually just buy what they like nowadays compared to what is trendy or whatnot, we wouldn't have to deal with I'm just waiting for the frag swap bullshit.
Can I put a caveat on all this? Because I don't want anybody to come away from this thinking that, at least for me, I'm not speaking for everybody else, that I'm complaining. I think that the nature of economics, and I'm all for the competition, and I think it makes all of us better, to be honest with you. But it is waves are going to cut some people out. And, like anything else, some consolidation has to happen. So I think that's where it goes. But I do think we're in a point right now, if you ask me, with the industry where we're at, online especially, which is where my field is, it's pretty saturated. And I don't know what happens, from here. I think the cream will rise to the top. I think the people who innovate and can get captive more attention, not so much followers anymore. It's about who could be the most captivating. I think that they'll go to the top, and then I think it's gonna be rough for other people, but they can always have it as a hobby and a side hustle. There's nothing wrong with that either. So
I'm gonna put what I said a minute ago in even better perspective for people. If you wait for something, you might not ever get it. And if it's like me, if I import corals and I see that piece that I've never seen before, and I say, I'm going to sell this and I'll wait for the next one to come in, that's like the stupidest thing I could possibly do. That thing's got to go on my farm today. You can't just wait. You might not ever see it again. And if Bobby's got something up and the dude's like, oh, I can't buy it. I really want to. I want to wait and save my money for the frag swap. Dude, are you nuts? Buy it.
And this is why having Avery in my life is good for me. Because I see that shit and she's like, don't do it. Look at your bank account.
So how is life not having a tank, Salem? That needs to be. I've got this.
tank.
I've got.
I got one
You got
tank.
to. Well,
I have a
I've got
10
that.
gallon cube.
I've got that guy with 8 amaze balls up there right around the corner from me. He's ready to ship Monday, so I need you to go by and help me get him. I want some amaze balls.
I've got a
My
10
amaze
gallon
balls
cube.
is like that
dude.
big around now.
Well, sounds like you need to go to a doctor. You know what I mean? Get that shit checked, brother.
Me and Salem are way too young for this conversation that you guys are having. Sidebar.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's a type of goniopora that I've always wanted. Ask Chris.
I know what it is. You have got to explain it.
No,
to me.
I know, but if there's any
mean
youngsters, in here, I don't want them think we're talking, about anything, down south. Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
Nothing inappropriate all here.
Right. And you guys are talking about the booths and shows and stuff. I really like what Bill at Eye Candy Coral, not Eye Candy Coral's done with Reefing USA. He keeps the booths like $100 or whatever. He travels around. They're coming to Kansas City soon, and whatever he pays at the venue, he divides it up. You know what I mean? Because imagine how much it costs. I've heard people pay on a good night for 2 8-foot booths at one of those places I'm not going to mention, $1,500. Okay, so what are you doing? You're going to sell corals cheaper than what you could sell them for anywhere else because you got all this competition. So you're going to sell your first $3,000 worth of corals at probably cheaper than you want to, and just to break even on what you got. And if you're growing it, it's still worth what it costs wholesale to grow. I mean, that's the wholesale division of it. Growing's this price, and then retail or selling should be another profit, you know what I mean? But they're forced to do it all in one, you know what I mean? That's 2 different steps, my brother, you know what I mean? So, and bagging all that stuff up and going 15, you know what I mean? So the show has still got a lot of, there's good people out there. And if you guys ever check it out, I'm not here plugging stuff, but Reefing USA, Bill, Eye Candy Coral, great guy. They go on the road all the time. They're coming to KC in like a month and a half. They don't really come to California. That's more of a coral farmers market. It's another good one I went to. I guess Tyree did it or something with another guy. That was a good one. There was a lot of people there, so yes, support that, you know what I mean? Whatever you do. And then, and watch our streams too. And, and just do whatever you got to do, but support, if you do have a local fish store by you, go by in there and, and make sure they don't sell you Aptasia. If you walk in there and they sell you Aptasia, like, happens sometimes, and you probably just walk right out. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So,
I say, but make sure you support people who are putting in hard work, man, because there's a difference, man. There's a lot of these guys out here that people will throw around terms. Oh, you're a chop shop because you frag stuff. There's a difference between fragging and growing and selling some things and selling stuff that's not healthy. The golden rule is, for me, when I'm looking at someone, especially if they go online, one of the things about these online vendors, they don't realize they expose their problems because you can't hide them. When you have Aptasia all over the place and bubble algae, you can't hide that shit when you're online. You know what I mean? So support people who are paying attention to detail and going to be there consistently. You know what I mean?
I think he made a very good point. If it's aquaculture, it's aquaculture, and it's not going to cost the same as what your chop shop's going to be or your wild import's going to be. And I'll be honest with you, that's the biggest problem I think that we have as a wholesaler of aquaculture corals, is that people don't respect what we actually do at ACI and how long it takes us for actually to farm a coral from a to being saleable. And then they say, well, why is your ACI drunk monkey this price when you have a chop shop frag that looks similar and it's only this price? And I'm like, well, we've been farming this coral for 5 years. You think it was free? I got that wild piece of coral and I cut it up into pieces. It healed a little bit. Guess what? I can afford to sell that cheap because there's no time or effort involved in growing it actually as a true aquaculture piece. And
at a certain point, they don't really have to care, because if the product does get out there and it is as healthy, it does put all of us in this spot where it's like, well, you still got to know your market, because there's been times where, like, I've had a coral where, I think it's well worth X price, and I know it is, and I know how long I put into it, but sometimes that's just how the market is. When there's other people that have it available and they're reputable, there's so much that goes into factoring a price. As you guys know, one of the things that I'm most interested in is how the poker game works. And I study this, why corals are going for this certain price here and there. There's so many little minute factors that go into it, but at a certain point, you got to understand that most people, I guess, they're not really going to care. They're not going to care that this was aquacultured for this amount of time. If they feel like this price is this price and I can't justify paying this, there's just, you know, where is that arbitrage? You either have to grow more faster or split it or wait, or you have to at least come down on price, or you have to get creative and start making frag packs and other incentives, online raffles. These are things that people are doing, whether people like them or not. I understand it's a touchy subject with the raffles, but these are ways that you have to get creative sometimes, or you're just gonna lose money or sit on the coral forever, you know?
Whenever I go to a show, the first thing I do is I walk in. I went right in. I looked over to the left and Vincent was there. And I was like, Vincent, what's up? He's like, come on, Pat. Because he knows I'm going to go buy a bunch of glitter gonnies, buy some stuff. He says, I'm going to take you to the right places. So, you know, because we got there a little late. It's like 12 booths. We ended up buying out 5 or 6 of them and then buying some from other ones. What I do is if I see it's all stuff that was just chopped up from the wild, and I see it, I'm like, I go right past that booth. I mean, that's all I'm looking for. I'm looking for encrusting. I'm looking for rare. I'm looking for stuff I cannot get. By the way, there's no Indo Wild for months now, and it's almost coming back. But anyway, I look for stuff that I knew people spent their hard-earned time on growing. That's what I want. Now, if I could get the same thing bigger and it's going to be way cheaper, heck yeah, then that's fine. But I'm looking for I'm looking to work a one-on-one relationship with whoever I got it from, because I see that they're a good grower. I see what they got, and I pay a little bit more from that 10 times out of a week, out of 7, whatever, because I love it. But if you could find that new piece that no one's got, the wild piece, that's always fun too. You know what I mean? But I love supporting my local reefers, man.
Sometimes those wild pieces, people will be like, well, that's just a wild piece. And it's like, sometimes I want to take the risk on that wild piece. And I don't want to wait for 6 weeks and let somebody make sure it's, I'm just saying, as long as people know and you're willing to take that risk, then man, I think there's nothing wrong with that, because people do get a lot of judgment as far as like, well, that's a wild coral, you should have sat on it for 3 months. And it's like, okay, yeah, but somebody else out there maybe doesn't want to wait that. So I just want people to know that there's different lanes: growing, aquaculture, mariculture, just fragged. I'll take a zoanthid if somebody just fragged it. I don't want a chalice if somebody just fragged it. So to me, it's just about finding those little lanes and being okay with, sometimes you'll take a chance on like a wild piece that's crazy. It might turn into something. It might lose all its color, but I want to take that chance.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, we do that a lot.
And you can name it too. You got to name something: Bobby Bad Moon Favia, or Patty's Pissed Off Platty, you know what I mean? Or with the hair, you know. You can't do that. You know what I mean? How many people are going to rename a Pete Cadillac Acro? You know what I mean? Or, you know what I mean? So,
can I say this about names though? A lot of people will say like, you slap the name on it and you get
sorry,
more money.
Whoever's next, but we're not leaving. We're not leaving.
The name game.
You're going to have to pull me away. Hey, thanks everyone. You guys rock. I stream in an hour on Facebook, soon to be TikTok. Bobby streams in a few hours. Check us out. I'll be going all night long. Later, baby. And stop calling me during streams.
Thanks for coming on.
Shout out to Pat for being on the panel with me. Shout out to Salem and Chris for having me. All the people in the background that make it happen. All the people in the chat that showed out for Kush Corals. I will be live later tonight too. I got some really cool stuff. Make sure you check us out. And shout out to the next people who are on the show.
Believe it.
Awesome.
Believe it. All right. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Salem. You better be at my wedding.
Thanks.
You're gonna be the little kid. You're gonna be the little kid that carries the ring. You're gonna be the little.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So, that was. Be sure to go check out Bobby at Kush Corals and Pat at Aquariums Wholesale. They are characters, as you can see. They're quite fun.
That was an energizing last 5 minutes there. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, they got into it, man. That was a good conversation about the state of the industry, though, I think, and where LFS
I think it was
are
great.
going.
I think it was great.